I'm recording video, so if you guys want to syncing, go ahead. Cool.
That was the smoothest clapping I think we've ever done.
I know, because Ben didn't start it
good at it.
when I wasn't recording.
All right. Well, here we are.
All right, so hey everybody, welcome to We Like This podcast. I am Danon Waters. I'm joined by Ben Nickerson, Jeremy Dallas, and Daryl Waters. And today we're talking about The Boys because it's getting to that point in the year where it's close to season 2. And this, since we're doing a TV show, for one, it's going to take way too long to go through each episode and do a story recap. So we're just going to kind of just do it. And also, major spoilers. If you have not seen this show, it's been out for a while. It's on Amazon Prime. Watch it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we all know you don't have a life. Go watch the show.
Yeah, no one's doing anything.
You know
anyway.
what? I was hesitant to watch the show, guys, and I fucking watched it all in one day because
Ben-
of how enticed I was.
Really?
Yeah, Ben. I was surprised when Ben texted and he was flaming the chat, of course. But I was surprised you watch it that fast, dude. That was crazy.
Wait,
So,
what did you just say?
I don't know. Flaming the
Flaming the chat?
chat. I don't know.
Flaming
the
It's
chat.
New one
he's-
for me.
He's like, he's flaming, so he was angry.
No, that's not what flaming means.
I know what flaming means.
Danon,
Hey, Ben,
that's
you're flaming. Did you know that?
anachronistic.
Thank you.
So he's flaming the chat. Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to get the vernacular down, brah.
Oh,
Stay up to date with the
He was
Uh,
definitely coming on.
Wait, can I? So I just want to say about this show. Oh my fucking god!
Yeah. Okay. So
There's our one.
Jeremy and my dad have
I think I
all
already
seen
said
this
one
show about the time it came out, and so we were getting ready to do this for the podcast, and so I sat down with Ben and watched the first episode with him, and so Ben has just seen this for the first time recently. We've all seen it several times. So Ben, what are your thoughts on this show? Because
I told you guys this in the group chat, but I literally I needed to go eat a piece of chocolate after I finished this show. I have never watched something that made me feel so depressed and defeated in my entire
Wow.
life. It was
wow,
like I was
those are
being
some strong emotions.
I felt like I was being assaulted viciously and the whole time I'm thinking yeah, but it's gonna be worth it. This is a superhero drama. It's they're just being over the top and it's gonna pay out. Nope. Well, at least not in the first season, man. Oh my gosh.
Not
They
when the
ended-
superheroes are the bad guys.
Dude, they ended the entire first season with a sucker punch for no reason. They were just
absolute-
like, hey, they're just like, hey, here you go. That's one for the
rea-
road, buddy.
Not no reason.
See you later.
Not no reason, but yeah, they did. And
Yeah, I
came
guess
out of
not no
nowhere.
reason, but not in the style of the type of narrative that they were telling. You don't go see Pursuit of Happiness, right, with Will Smith, and then cry your eyes out for 2 hours, and at the very end expect him to get run over by a truck. That's not the typical style of these kinds of narratives. So it was very
Yeah.
shocking.
It was one of those things when it happened, I didn't see it coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right, it was a gut punch, and you're like, oh my god, I don't know if I can take this. This is too painful.
Yeah.
because
Butcher,
No, I
right?
did-
8 years.
Yeah,
8
this is
years.
this is Butcher's wife Becca that we reveal in the end, and she's actually alive. When you're getting on the stead,
Yeah.
she's
Not just
she's
alive.
She's been missing for 8 years.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
last thing that he knows about it is that Homelander, who's the leader of the Seven, raped her, and they think that he murdered her. But turns out at
Yeah.
the very, very end of the show, she's actually alive, has a house, has a son. And
Homelander's
Homelander
kid.
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Homelander
Raising
knows who she is.
Homelander's son. Yeah.
Now, I will say this. It doesn't seem to me, I watched the whole thing a second time through, right around the time Ben finished it for the first time, I had finished it for the second time. And rewatching it again, I realized that they don't really tell you why Billy Butcher is so convinced that she was raped. There doesn't seem to be, he doesn't
There's
seem
no
to bring
evidence of
any serious evidence, but he's convinced.
There's a scene that the CIA agent brings him. Remember?
Right, there's
She
the
shows
video.
him going into the closet, and
But
she
that's not-
leaves all disheveled.
Yeah, and I guess that's just wishful thinking on his part because that's not
Yeah.
proof that she
No
was
one's
assaulted at
wishful
all.
thinking rape.
Well,
That is
for
no
him,
Actually,
He's
honestly,
like,
yeah.
it's not even a thought in his mind that she actually had consensual sex with.
and would have
Homelander.
left him, and which is what we got to assume
Yeah.
at this point, or why she wouldn't be happily, living in some home somewhere with Homelander's kid. Which
And
Homelander
that's what's
is
so cruel about it.
exactly. That's why it's such a gut. And Homelander brings Billy Butcher there just to show
Yeah.
him this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Knowing he's
And-
been in torment for 8 fucking years over this shit.
yeah.
But
Well,
the
and
Homelander is one of the best villains. I can't remember the last time there was a villain this good and played by anyone this well. I mean, what
Yeah.
a fucking great villain, man. Just
Dude,
the
I don't
best.
remember if I've seen much from this guy. Either.
No.
He's a
I've
New
never-
Zealander. And he wasn't very big.
I mean, he's got major
overseas.
Bradley Cooper vibes.
Which is one of the smart things to do with this show, too. Also to save on money. Which is have a
Or
bunch
to
of
save on
no-names,
postage.
right? Or to save on postage.
Yeah,
have
a bunch of
no-names.
no-names that remind you of other big
Ex-
A-listers because, like, the
exactly.
dude who plays A-Train reminds me exactly of Anthony Mackie.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Like,
Oh,
He
yeah.
looks a
exactly.
lot like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this dude who plays Homelander looks exactly like Bradley Cooper. He plays.
You
the
got a
character
good point.
lot
I never
like
didn't
him.
think of that. He's got Bradley Cooper vibes for sure.
Yeah,
but
and-
Yeah, everyone
Um,
sort of looks like someone else who's an A-lister.
What's the main
Yeah.
character's name?
Huey.
Huey. Yeah,
Yep.
who's played by Jack
Yeah.
Quaid, which is Dennis Quaid's son, which is why he looks so familiar.
Yeah.
Dude, that blows my mind.
Yep.
I didn't even think about that. He
So,
does look like
yeah.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, it's cast.
I feel like I've seen him in
very,
other stuff,
very
right?
well. He's been in a couple
You-
of other things, but he's not very
You probably
big.
recognize him from the Hunger Games.
Yeah, he was a minor.
Remember the
character
beginning
in
of the
Hunger
second
Games.
Hunger Games, and she shoots that chicken in the woods, turkey, and it hits the kid instead, and he's like this. That's him. Isn't that what a turkey's called? A chicken in the
Oh
woods?
yeah, that's.
That's funny.
Well, yeah, everybody knows that turkeys are wood chickens, but yeah, of course I remember him from that
turkeys in
random
the woods.
death.
Yeah.
The,
Why-
the
why
wood
would I
chicken.
forget that?
Yeah, that's what. What do you have for Thanksgiving this year? Oh, wood chicken. Turkey.
Same thing.
Think what it
Happy
was
Wood
called.
Chicken Day.
Yeah.
All right, should we start
Um,
from the beginning then, at least, and talk through it? Because
Yeah.
Happy Wood
sure.
Chicken Day.
Sure.
I would
Yeah,
like
I
to
mean,
say
the
that
first-
they bring you into this show perfectly. There's 2 scenes. So
Yep.
the first scene is the scene where there's those 2 kids that are talking about the superheroes, and then the bank robbery happens, and then they get saved, and it's like stereotypical, like you've seen it in every single superhero movie scene, right, where the superheroes come and save the day, and everybody applauds all that. But they show exactly what the show's going to be, and basically how violent and graphic it's going to be. Because when that truck is coming and about to hit those kids, and Queen Maeve just lands in front of it, and it like wraps around her. Fucking awesome
Yeah.
shot, by the way. And when she
Yeah.
ends up in the back seat with all the bank robber guys in the back of that truck, so cool. And then just kills
Yeah.
them basically.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, some of them died in the car accident. They weren't like shying away from showing you that, like, oh yeah,
that guy's-
if you're driving a truck 40 miles an hour into a like solid pole, you'll probably die.
That
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, one of
Yeah,
the
the-
guys in the front seat like gets out and throws up blood. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
you immediately you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be a very violent show. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Robin getting
That's the other
shredded,
scene.
and him holding her hands. You know what I mean? It was pretty fucking brutal,
It's
and him
shocking.
just covered. Yeah, absolutely shocking. Well, that's the
It
thing
is
is like,
crazy shocking.
when's the last time you watched a show or a movie or anything where you were like, "Holy shit," and things like that? Like I reacted that way to a lot of parts of this show.
Ben
'cause
did
it was
that
so
exactly.
well
Like
done.
I was watching for Ben's reaction during that part because
Yeah.
they do that fantastically too. So like there's that little like nudge, and all of a sudden she's just gone, and they don't really explain
Yeah.
why. And then they start to do that kind of like that tilt, that pan over, and then you see
Yeah.
just she's just nothing. She's been vaporized basically.
She's everywhere.
yeah, she's
Yes,
she's
yes.
everywhere all over the street.
Yeah.
She's
But
viscera.
Ben was
yeah.
just like, and then it started to show everything, and he's like, It's like, yes, yes.
the
Perfect
proper reaction.
Yeah.
And all the characters are great. Like all the boys, fantastic, perfectly cast. You like all the characters. You know what I mean? You identify
Yeah.
with them in some way. I mean, it's a really well written, well done show. I absolutely loved it. Haven't loved this show this much probably since the Tits and Dragons show.
Yep, Game of Thrones.
It fell
Game of
apart.
I'd say since Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, because Game of Thrones throws those same punches with character death.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
violence,
I think, yeah. I
especially.
mean,
So,
this one, honestly, this show hit me a lot harder than Game of Thrones, and I think the biggest issue is that it's so.
me too. It's more realistic.
It's not. Yeah, it's not
It's not a
fantasy.
fantasy
Like
world,
at
yeah.
least not the
Yeah.
the problems that you're experiencing are not fantasy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
one of the harshest things about this is just like cruel corporation, like damage control esque stuff in the place of human lives. And even besides that, there's like the other plot point in the first episode, which is Missouri Girl. I forget what's
Starlight.
her Starlight. Her introduction to being one of the like Justice League or the League of Seven or whatever they call them.
The Seven.
Yeah, the Seven is to be sexually assaulted, and it's just like,
Yeah.
and they're just like, yeah,
By
dude,
the
just like,
Aquaman guy.
yeah,
The Deep.
and it's just like, yeah, dude, just like the music industry, or just like getting into cable. It's like it's all like it's like yeah, dude, this is just like. Remember this stuff that you like watch TV to avoid? Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's cool to watch. It's cool all the different viewpoints of that show. Like to watch her journey. She comes in completely naive, like as any of us would. You know what I mean?
Right.
Excited to be there, comes in completely naive, and then you find out that everyone's a piece of shit, and they're all assholes,
Everyone.
and they're horrible people.
Yeah.
and it's
And
never.
not
It's
about
not
being
what you
heroes at
thought.
all.
And Huey's journey is the same in a way too, right? Because he's
all the figurines. He's a
What's
a
that?
fan. He's a fan. He's got all the figurines.
huge
of
fan.
A-Train and all that stuff.
got all the figurines. Yeah, it's got the posters on the wall, and then he finds out through the death of Robin because of A-Train being on the juice. What's this stuff called?
A Compound V.
Compound V. And then his is the same way. His whole world is shattered, not only just because of the death of his girlfriend, because he finds out these people are terrible human beings. You know.
Yes, and
and
the
Billy
corporation-
Butcher has got to be one of the coolest fucking characters that has been
Yeah.
created in a
Ooh,
long
He's so awesome.
and
His
flawlessly.
accent is lame though.
His
I
accent
love
No,
wavers.
I
It-
love
shut
it.
up.
It wavers between
Shut
like
up.
that weird Welsh to Scottish to Australian. I
I
thought
don't
he
care
was
what
going
it
for
is, I love
Australian.
it.
Me
the
too.
First time
I don't
watched
care.
I don't
it,
even care.
And then
I
watching
don't
it
even
again the
care.
second
I
time, I
love
was
it.
just like, oh yeah, he's all over the place.
I don't care.
But it's good.
I think
It's,
he's
it makes
best
him.
character.
it makes his character
Yeah.
because it's just it's
Yeah, yeah.
the
Oh,
show's
yeah.
ridiculous,
It's-
right? And so having a character
so
that
over the top,
ridiculous
yeah.
is just like
Yeah.
it fits
well,
so well.
Can we-
yeah, and that's why I think that's why it's so good too. Is because it's so. I think it had to be completely over the top. It is. They're throwing so much at you. You know what I mean? Because if you think really, I was thinking about it before we even started tonight. If the Seven really, really wanted to, with someone as powerful as Homelander, how hard would it be find these guys, right? How hard would it really? A lot of times they don't explain how. They kind of insinuate that they're in a basement somewhere. They're kind of, but I mean, how hard would it really be for Homelander to find these guys? Not hard.
Yeah.
He's
No.
Superman, for Christ's sake. You
Yeah.
know, this show did right to what Brightburn really, 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 really wanted to do,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
was
truly
what would it be
evil
like?
Superman.
God, Brightburn was such a. I don't want to get off on Brightburn tangent, but God, what a great concept! That was just a pile of shit the way they delivered it, but great idea. And this show delivered on that idea that what if superheroes are bad, and especially
Yeah.
corporatized ones with this gigantic corporation behind them and being all corporation-y.
Absolutely. And look at the corporation. Look at what their interests are. The last thing that they actually care about is just serving the public and being heroes. That might be the last thing that they really care about.
Like when they
Instead-
send out
the point where-
yeah. What's her name?
Yeah, there's a point
LimeWire.
where or what's his name?
Livewire. What's her
Lighter?
name?
Livewire.
What's the girl's name?
Which one?
Oh, Starlight.
Anyway,
Starlight?
Starlighter, Lampwire, whatever. And I like she's gonna go on her first mission or whatever, and she has to go with the Deep because it's water adjacent. They call it.
Yes, it's a water adjacent mission.
So
Yeah,
exactly.
and she gets-
so that's why she has to go with him.
Yeah, and she gets
Completely
chastised, by the way, when she actually is,
Yeah.
because she's probably the only real hero in the entire Seven.
Yeah.
The first time she really saves someone from actually getting sexually assaulted, she almost gets fired.
She gets
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
lambasted
almost
by
fire her
bosses. Yeah.
because she actually stopped a sexual assault and she wasn't in costume
Yeah.
and the cameras weren't rolling and it this whole thing and then because she didn't turn up as a witness, they're like, well, because she's not going to turn up as a witness, you're probably screwed. And of
Yeah.
course she does later. But I laughed when I saw that. I was like, yeah, that's this is crazy that there is a superhero corporation that really doesn't care about saving anyone.
Well, the interesting thing
to the
about that
yeah.
is that would actually, that's a very common fear that people have getting into altercations and stuff like that. That's why a lot of people, they play by the bystander effect, because if you get involved in something, you could get sued for pretty much anything, right?
Yeah,
And so that's why people avoid a lot of this stuff. Like, if you get in a fight with somebody, they can sue you. If you break their jaw or something, if you seriously hurt them, totally could get sued for everything you have.
Well, you have the Good Samaritan law, and I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me, but you have the Good Samaritan law, which
it's
protects
tough
you
to
from
prove
being
if you don't have witnesses.
criminally prosecuted from trying to save someone, but they can still sue you.
Yes.
Right? They
Yeah.
can.
Yep.
And if you can't afford to fight it, they're going to sue you.
and they're
You know?
probably going to win.
You didn't save
Yeah,
my
or at
life,
least
you
settle
ruined
that
my
part, yeah.
death. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
Or whatever he
exactly.
said.
They
Kind
touch
of like
on they touch on this in The Incredibles when Mr. Incredible stops.
I was just
That's
about to
where
say
my
that.
quote was
That's
from.
a quote
stops
from
that
him.
monorail.
Mr. What's his name
Yeah.
didn't ask to be saved. Mr. What's his name didn't want to be saved.
Yeah.
And they're all there in the neck braces, and
Yeah.
it's that entire thing. But it's blown up, and that scene was great too, because it also shows a lot of like corporate interaction too. It's like why a lot of
Yeah.
corporations are so afraid to mess.
I mean,
with public
honestly,
images because
this is a very anti-capitalist show. Like, just watching
oh,
it from
yeah.
that perspective, it's like
Yeah.
corporations will literally fund terrorists to help their bottom line.
Yeah.
That's what the show is saying.
Well, they'll
yes.
make
That's-
terrorists.
Yeah,
Will.
they'll-
This corporation is willing
Well-
to actually go and make them.
Well, hold on. Homelander does that, not to defend the corporation by any stretch, but Homelander does that. Remember, he's the one that
Yeah,
creates
Homelander
that.
does do that. That's true.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And what's her
Uh,
name? Who runs the? She actually doesn't know about it until Homelander tells her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you know what? That is a very fair point. But they also still created the superhero babies from scratch.
Of course, I'm not
Yeah.
by no means absolving that corporation. They're horrible, obviously. But yeah, what's funny? It's funny for a show to be. It is very anti-capitalist. It's anti-religion.
Yeah.
Very.
You know, it's got all that stuff, which none of that bothered me in the least. I think it's a fantastically written show.
Nah.
Like I said, the boys, all the boys. I love all the boys' characters. Mother's Milk is fantastic. Frenchie,
Frenchie, dude.
I love it. Like
Frenchie's
this
my
preview for
favorite.
the second one.
Frenchie's my
Frenchie's great. This unknown Frenchman or whatever they say. And he's like,
Yeah.
they don't know who he is.
Yeah.
It's great.
And-
he spent
and
his
to
whole
that
life
point-
not being that guy, not knowing, hiding
Right.
basically. So
Yeah. And I think the boys are the funniest part of the show too. Like
Yeah.
everyone who is a part of the boys, they're what makes it so funny, man. I mean, Carl Urban, he has me laughing constantly in that show. Some of his lines are so funny.
they
I
balance
think that
well, I mean,
the
there's
bleak
that
Yeah.
part
with
where
the
they're,
comedy
I
very
think-
well, right?
Yeah, where he was getting sent in to go place that bug, and he says, I can't remember what the line is, but he's like, he gives this big old spiel, and he was like, "What are you saying?" He's like, "I'm telling you not to be a fucking go in there," and it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just like,
His use of that word too is so great. I don't want to say it a bunch in case we can't.
Yeah. His
the podcast.
liberal use of that word is hilarious.
Yeah, but he does. To the point, the first time I really laughed when he said that is at the end of the first episode after he smashes into translucent.
What did he say about? Oh man, I gotta look the line up when translucent. Well, if it ain't
Yeah, he's like,
invisible.
well, if
Yeah,
it ain't
yeah.
invisible.
It's so great.
God.
I love how he spits blood on him to be able to
yeah,
find him.
that's
Oh yeah.
they do so
Which is a
good. They're really
great
smart about
tactic.
everything.
It
Yeah.
is. It's funny because I was reading some stuff about it, and of course, comic book people are like, "Oh, it's different. It's not like this." You know, comic
Oh,
book people
screw
always complain
that.
about
The show is
stuff.
great.
It is fantastic.
Those people are
They're like,
stupid.
They don't like that Kimiko. In the comic book, she doesn't have a name. Apparently, they never name her. And they name her in the show, and I'm like, it
I
humanizes.
didn't know
it,
that this was
man.
based off
Yeah.
a comic book.
It's a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Graphic
What
novel
sick
thing.
bastard wrote that, dude? This is
Right?
Jesus. I could get behind it if it was a big budget show, but man, somebody wrote this.
Well, you know what? Too, it's like I'm. And we've talked about this before. And I've told you guys before this. I'm superheroed out, man, like big time, dude. I've been watching
Yeah.
Spider-Man movies from the '70s, guys. I am superheroed out, and to see this show put a completely new. And I went into the show going, fuck it, I'm bored. Sunday afternoon, I'll see. I'll give it a shot. And I did the same thing. I didn't blow through it in a day, but I watched it very quickly, and I've seen it 3 times now. I loved it so much.
Oh wow.
I'm amazed
But it was
that you
nice
can
to
watch
see
this
a
that many times.
completely different take on the superhero thing. It's like, how could they do it? And they did.
Yeah.
You know? So it's the complete opposite of a Marvel film. You know, it's the complete opposite of what's the big last two Marvel films? What are they called? The Avengers.
Avengers.
That's what's cool about it.
Yeah, it
Taps
is very
into the
different.
Justice League, like
Very
you were
different.
saying.
Yeah.
That's I think where
It
they
feels
draw
a little
most
bit
of
more-
their like satirical
Yeah.
inspiration
Feels a lot more
is the
DC.
Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm a little bit
Flash,
bummed.
yeah.
and
Yeah, it's got the
Superman.
Flash, Wonder Woman. What's her
Homelander,
name?
Superwoman,
Woman.
or Superman.
Homelander is Superwoman. There's.
But I also. Sorry.
Oh
go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just gonna move on, but go ahead, Jer.
Oh, I was gonna say. I think the other reason that the show works so well is because it is playing on a lot of. It is playing on a lot of your expectations.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
and
a
then
good
just
point.
flipping that on your head. Like you're going in. Actually, I think the reason it works so well, partially, is because superheroes are so big right now,
Yeah.
and they are just completely playing on your expectations and then flipping it on its head, almost every episode.
Yeah.
You know,
The superheroes
and so that
are a
really
bunch
works
of
in it.
regular guys that happen to have some
Yeah.
unique skills, you know?
Yeah,
They're not even
And I-
regular guys. They're like the worst of humanity.
Yeah,
yeah, they're all bastards.
they kind of are.
Almost all of
Yeah.
them.
They're not they're anti-heroes for sure. You know, Huey's probably the most normal guy until he got which is another great story point. You know, he's just a normal guy, just a schlub, right? Gets thrust in this very unique situation where he has to grow as a human being, and
Yeah, he doesn't
can
get
he do
powers or
this?
anything, so.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he blows
He's
up
just a dude.
translucent with C4 in his ass.
Yeah.
That was an awesome scene.
Those fucking
And from that
great,
point
man.
forward,
That was an
I
awesome
love that
scene.
he keeps trying. Like, I do really love that they like ham up how normal of a guy he is, and then they'll
Yeah.
constantly be like, "Yeah, except you blew up a guy with C4 in his
Yeah.
ass." Like, I don't care how schlubby you act,
Yeah.
dude. You did that thing. Like, you're
did it.
you're not
Yeah, I
any
love
good.
how-
I
His
love how
character.
the rest of the boys will blame him for that, almost like it's completely his fault that Translucent's
Yeah.
dead, but it's like he wasn't the one that put C4 up his ass.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
very
like
true.
And
I
it-
forget who Billy Butcher tells somebody like, hey, you know, you're looking at the guy who took out Translucent.
Translucent.
You know, he didn't go into the details of how it happened, or that.
No.
You know, he just tells him that he took him out. So
Yeah, yeah. And he says that a couple times too. When anytime that Huey wants to make a move in his life that brings him back to like a normal life, like as he
Yeah.
tries to develop a relationship with Starlight, Carl Urban is always like telling him, "Hey, by the way, you killed a soup.
yeah,
Remember that?
that
By the way, there's no going back to normal. You killed a soup."
that's it.
So
Carl, it's like Carl Urban is Huey's devil on his shoulder, and Mother's Milk is the angel on his shoulder, right? Because Mother's Milk's the
Absolutely.
one that keeps reminding him, "Hey, man, this is not going to go the way you think, and you are going to pay for this one day emotionally." You know what I mean? You can't just kill people and be okay with it. It's going to come down one day, and you're going to have to pay the piper. And I think that's what's cool about those characters too, because Carl Urban character is solely motivated by his revenge for Becca.
yes,
Right.
Right? Solely
Yeah.
motivated by his revenge for Becca. And I think Mother's Milk is. I'm not sure his motivation because he seems like a really good guy, actually. I think he just likes to hunt. You know, this is more fun for him than
Yeah.
doing what he was doing, working at a boys' home or whatever.
Well, I
You know,
think
he
we'll
felt
get
maybe,
we'll probably
Yeah.
get a little bit more of that
Yeah.
as the seasons progress. But I really appreciated. Actually, my favorite boy of the boys is Frenchie for sure. I think that his
Yeah.
like
Great
him,
character.
Yeah, him telling his story to Kimiko,
Yeah.
and yeah, they really personified the most like insane character from the boys, right? Because he's somebody without a name who's been on the run his
Yeah.
entire life.
Yeah.
Makes a living selling
He's an
arms.
arms dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this guy, like, it's so funny how this guy, like, totally off the grid, crazy person, and they're like, we're going to give him the backstory that's gonna be like the tearjerker. You know?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And it worked, man. I was tearing up listening to him talk to Kimiko. Gosh.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love Haley Joel Osment in this
Oh, he's
show.
great.
Oh
He's
my
only
god,
in a
yeah.
few
It's
episodes.
Mesmer.
But
Yeah.
he's so funny. What's his name?
Mesmer.
Mesmerizer?
Yeah.
Mesmer.
Mesmer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has some weak superpower.
And
Well, I
they
like that
totally
too, is
make
like
fun
that
of him though too, if you realize, because the Mesmer is that show that he's in as a kid, and now he's
That's
just some
right.
wash
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Haley
yeah.
Joel
Child
Osment.
Yeah,
That's
his
funny.
character
Unfortunately,
is
it
a child
sucks for him.
actor.
Like he's still a good actor, but man, it's funny how they seem like they seemingly cast him in that role, for a reason.
Well, I think that was
Yeah.
that was obvious. Well, it's funny that like Haley Joel Osment was one of these guys who was very cute as a kid and is very uncute as an adult, but has survived
Yeah.
all that. You know what I mean? And is
Yeah.
still working. He's
still doing stuff.
He
He's
didn't
good.
because. Yeah, oh, he's great. I mean, he's like most of these kids who were very, he had Oscar nomination, I think, for The Sixth Sense, and he was amazing in that,
Yeah.
right? He was young Gump.
Yeah.
And then now he's a grown-up version of himself, but he didn't ruin him. He's still successful.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool actually to see that he didn't turn out some burnout drunk and die or something like which is usually what happens to these kids. You know what I mean? He survived it somehow.
Straight up Corey
So which
Feldman.
means he must have had a really strong family connection or something. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times in these backstories, these kids, their parents were showbiz parents and didn't actually care about him anyways, and that's
Corey
why they
Feldman.
struggled with that.
It's like
What's
prime
that?
example of that.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
So his parents were all about getting those kids in the business, in the show business.
Oh,
So
Starlight
that's why they were
Tom
all
is
in the
that.
show business.
You
Yeah,
see that in the
that's a
show
good
because
example.
she's
Good
always
point.
in the superhero pageants when she was younger, and then her mom doesn't really care, what she's really going through, and she's just like, well, can you do it for me? Or
Yeah, that's such a
my
heartbreak.
friends
Honestly,
are watching. You got to get out there. It's
one
just
of the
like,
most emotionally impactful scenes in this whole show was Starlight going through everything at the Jesus Festival,
Yeah.
realizing for the first time that she's been used by everybody her whole life, and then
Sorry, Ben. It just looks like you're nuzzling that pop filter.
and then
You're just like rubbing
Look.
your cheek on it. Just like,
this is my favorite pop filter.
okay.
And then freaking Huey is like, "Hey, I need to use you too." And it's just like the look
Yeah.
on her
Ooh,
face,
right.
that, dude. She nailed the response in
Yeah,
that in that
I
scene.
really like that actress. I think she's really good.
yeah, that killed
Like
me.
even in the
Oh,
beginning
yeah.
when she gives her monologue about why she wants to be a superhero is moving, and great.
Yeah, it is.
I think she's a great actress. I've never seen anything else. Perfectly cast, I think. You know what I mean? She really captures Midwestern naivete and likability and it's great. Again, like I said, I can't say enough great things about this show. It's a fantastic show. I absolutely loved it.
It is
and
incredibly well
perfectly
written
cast.
and extremely depressing. Right?
Yeah.
It's a heavy show. It is a very heavy show. And thank God for the humor, right? It's the only thing that breaks the tension. If it didn't have the humor, the show would be unwatchable, right? Because it would
think
just
so.
be too much. Because you're right, Ben. It's everyone's got like even the Deep, who's a piece of shit in his own right, still has tough times in the shit he's dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his own
Yeah,
sad
and
stuff.
even he is struggling with even the Deep, who like you said, Daryl, he's a total piece of shit. But even he's like sort of struggling with the corporate aspect. Like he actually has some real
and Queen-
heroic it's kind of things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
He wants to actually save the environment. He's got some real ideas about how to do
Yeah.
it. And he gets shut down all the time too, to the point where
Yeah.
he's kind of the butt of the seven. I
Yeah, he
think
really
of
is.
anyone.
Easily,
Yeah.
easily.
He's sort
yeah.
of the
He's the
sort of the
Aquaman.
loser.
And then
Yeah.
Queen
Yeah.
Maeve's struggle, her struggle with the whole Homelander thing and her, like when she's on that plane
can we
is
talk about the
Oh
plane
rough.
scene?
God.
That's the
Oh
most
my God,
depressing.
that's brutal.
I was gonna
It
say
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
watching that
That's
again was
gotta be the most
very,
depressing scene.
very rough.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
exchange
expect it,
Yeah.
Watching it the first time, I was just like, "Oh shit, okay, this is heavy." But watching it for the second time, it was hard to get through.
it really is
is.
pretty heavy, man. Her and Homelander's just complete disregard for human life, just
Yep.
total sociopath, man. He could absolutely care less, and she's really
Well, now-
struggling. And it's funny. I like Jeremy, what you were saying about expectations. She's saying, can't you hold up the plane or something, like where Superman would do? It's like, what are you
Right,
talking
right,
about?
right.
I can't do that. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
cool.
there's no
I like that
ground.
they did
Yeah.
that too.
There's nothing to
Yeah,
stand.
yeah.
He's like, how am I going to do that?
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
he wouldn't
physics.
even try.
Come on, like physics. What do you
Doesn't even
think?
care.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna fly into this thing super fast?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go through it and kill somebody on
Yeah.
the way through. Like it's so stupid.
He's like, Maeve, I can't save these people. They're going to die. That's
Yeah.
it.
And that's it. He
And that's
doesn't
really
feel nothing
crazy.
from it. Yeah.
That's really crazy. And not only that, but you're right, he is a serious sociopath because that plane dies, or that plane goes down, all those people die, and then the very next morning, he makes this huge, grandiose speech for all the cameras and all the bystanders about how this is all the fault of the government, and if they only accepted
to the
us,
military.
if we had been in the loop on this, we could have prevented it. Blah blah blah.
There's a
Like maybe not even 24 hours after he let all these people die.
Yep.
Which just solidifies him as like the greatest villain of the show.
Yeah.
Easily.
I want to see if you guys caught something because there's a very, very important parallel to his speech in real events. So at the end when he's giving this speech and like you said, Jerry, he's talking about how this could have been prevented and all that stuff. There's a dude down on the beach who says, "I can't hear you," and then he like turns around, but I can hear you, and then like kind of addresses the crowd and stuff. Do you know what speech that is verbatim? That's George Bush's speech at Ground Zero 3 days after 9/11, where he climbs the rubble of the one of the towers. I think it's the North Tower, and somebody says that he can't hear him, so he grabs a bullhorn and says, "I can hear you," and we'll make them hear
I didn't
us.
know that.
Interesting.
And it is verbatim, almost word for word, the exact same speech,
Yeah.
and it is bone chilling when you realize that.
Well, because that was that plane attack, the hijacking is a terrorist hijacking in the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
which is
you're
just
right.
like-
You're right. Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
like
Yeah.
9/11.
Yeah.
And he blames, and then he goes on to talk about the terrorists and how we are going to get payback and how
Yeah.
these people who died won't be
Exactly.
all that kind of stuff.
Like this
That
wouldn't
makes
have
sense,
happened
actually.
if we were already at war with them, you know, or like,
And it's
eradicating
what's
them in the
even
first place.
crazier
It's just-
is George Bush was actually on one of the airplanes. Moving on.
Crazy.
Wait a second.
he
Yeah.
was the one that lit the
Little-
jet fuel, I think.
Yeah.
Goodness.
He loaded the
gracious.
jet fuel.
We're gonna get the wrong audience. But not that people won't
Can
watch.
I tag this under conspiracy theories?
Yeah, no shit, huh?
But no, honestly, like I do really respect the show for not holding its punches when it comes to the social issues that it brings up. Like I think that they do a really good job of leveling the field and pointing out a lot of the injustice that exists in the world and putting it into this kind of fantastical setting. It's just
Yeah, without being distracted.
yeah, it's just
that's a good
hard.
point.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, like the most brutal thing about this show is that every super bad thing that happens to people, you can totally see having a parallel in real life. I mean, like even the serial sexual assaulter, the Deep, you know, gets sexually assaulted. Like and it's
Yeah,
just
he
and it's
does,
not
in brutal
and it's
fashion.
not cool. Like the show isn't like, yeah, he's getting his comeuppance, you know. Like I think there's like a
Or
Yeah.
it's funny or something.
no,
it's
it's
actually
not
very
it's
uncomfortable.
right. It's uncomfortable. You watching it, you're like, oh my god, like this is not the kind of revenge that you want to see. Like you know, I think a lot of shows would play that up for like, yeah, see, he got his comeuppance, he did the thing, and now
Yeah.
he's getting the thing. But the
Yeah.
show is like, no, dude,
They're,
like
they're saying that revenge doesn't feel good.
right,
You know.
And-
Which is what
Yeah.
this entire show is about, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
And just because somebody did a bad thing doesn't mean that they just like that you can do that bad thing to them, right? Like it doesn't
Yeah,
make it right.
and it doesn't
not a-
fix it.
it's still a
Two
bad
Two wrongs
thing.
don't make it right, right? You know.
They,
So exactly.
Yeah, and we see that in Billy Butcher's character, where he actually refuses to see the good in Starlight. After Huey,
Yeah.
time and time says, "Hey, you know what? She's not like that. Yes, she's a soup, but no, she's really not like that." And he just refused to hear any of it. He's like, "No, they're all soups. They're all bad. They're all evil." He says it repeatedly. He's like, "She's a soup, and that's all that I care about. That's all I need to know, and that's it. We can't trust her." And that's the end of it, because he's being blinded by revenge too, and we see where that gets him.
yeah.
You know, where he lives
Gets him
this
on the lawn of his
horrible-
of Becca's. Gets him on Becca's lawn, meeting
but he's
Homelander's
also,
kid.
yeah, but he's also willing to blow away this woman that he doesn't really even know, like strap her to a bomb.
I know, yeah.
And again, he will dismiss anyone who's a soup, whether they actually are a good person or not, whether they even know what's going on or not.
God, that
doesn't
part-
matter. They're just a
Or
soup.
That part
And
when
we see that.
when I can't even remember the actor. Not the actor's name, but the character's name. Elizabeth Shue's character. When she finally admits to him, she's terrified of him, and so that's when he
Yeah.
burns her eyes out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
Crazy.
God.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I am terrified of Homelander now that he doesn't have that grounding character because he is so deranged
dude.
and evil.
Well,
Yes.
but does he? Or doesn't he? Because the first thing I thought when I saw that is, oh, is that the freaking shapeshifter? Or is that the real... Like, I could see that easily being a way to bring her back in season 2. Is he he actually killed the shapeshifter. Remember, because there's a Soup who can... He's sort of a Mystique character.
Oh, so he's...
At some point...
Okay.
Oh, you're right. I
some
forgot about
point,
that character. I forgot about that character.
He actually, she uses that guy to blackmail.
Thanks for
and he
ruining
can turn
it.
into anyone.
Thanks for
I'm
ruining
just saying
it.
that's
Fan
my
theory guy.
I mean, that's my hot take. That's my hot take is that she might not actually.
My
be.
theory-
I bet
That'd be
Jon
interesting.
Snow is actually the son of
Aegon,
Right.
Aegon Targaryen.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
My theory was actually
Thank you.
that they were going to do that for Butcher. That Butcher was going to be Mystique the entire
Oh.
time this season because I have seen the trailer or at least the teaser for the new season, and Butcher does come back. That's like one of the things they're like, Butcher's back, and I was like, why
Yeah.
would Butcher ever
Yeah,
go
yeah.
back? That's clearly somebody else.
Ah,
That's my.
Well, I'm
see-
I'm sure they'll show us. I bet Homelander lets him live.
I'm sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill you?
well, he has
Why
a
would I wanna
tremendous
kill
respect
you?
for him.
Yeah.
He has a tremendous. He even says as much. He's like, dude, I can't believe you went through all this trouble just to get back at me. That is impressive.
Wow.
You know, at the end.
Oh yeah.
He's like, wow, yeah,
It's probably the most fun he's had in years. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Having a true
exactly.
counterpart,
Adversary.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, not counterpart, but adversary. I also wanted to point out, I wonder if you guys noticed this too. I only noticed this very, very briefly towards the end of the second time I watched it, but if you guys ever watch it again, pay attention to when the superheroes are wearing street clothes and when they're not wearing street clothes. Because Starlight, whenever she doesn't have to, she's never in her costume, you know?
Yeah.
And
I was
that's
gonna
after
say
she
she's the
starts
only one who
become-
ever really.
That's only after
changes
she
into
starts to
street
become
clothes.
disillusioned. She's always in costume
Yeah.
beforehand, well, except for like her training montage in the beginning. But she's almost always in costume, and then she becomes disillusioned, and now they regularly show her in street clothes. There's a very small part where A-Train is actually in street clothes when he's in that that retail store, you know,
Oh,
after his
yeah.
leg got broken.
Oh yeah.
And so he's in street clothes. He's not in his outfit. That's like the lowest point that he's at, you know, and the most disillusioned that he is, because he has strange regrets too, because he's clearly addicted to Compound V, and he's also very torn up about what he did to his girlfriend Popclaw. You know?
I love
And
that.
so-
You killed my girlfriend.
Popclaw.
Yeah.
I didn't kill your girl. What are you talking about? Well, I killed her, but it's your fault.
Yeah, but it was because of you.
What a
entire thing.
freaking
I
jerk.
honestly
It's
her
loved that.
fault
I
that
loved
I
the way
killed her.
Huey kept responding to that. Honestly, like as cruel as it was, just the like
Yeah.
pure like, what are you talking about? I didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Played so well.
Yeah, and then Queen Maeve is never in street clothes. Homelander is never in street clothes. The Deep
Yeah,
wears.
that's
We
true.
talking about Black Noir.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's only
Black
in like a
Noir's
couple.
great.
I keep
Yeah.
wanted to see more Black Noir, but they didn't really want to. They really didn't want to give me any
Well,
Black
I
Noir.
think he's going to be Kamiko's main
Oh.
adversary for sure.
Yeah,
I think so
They already
too.
showed that.
You know, because
probably.
they did fight and he fucked her up,
Yeah.
and then she healed. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
think they're saving him in a way.
Yeah.
They gave us pieces of him, tastes of him, where you're like you're saying, like, man, I really, because especially as the talk, you're like, man, I really want to know more about this.
No, I think they're. I think they're
Yeah.
doing
So
it right.
hopefully
I think they're
season
doing
two
it
we'll
right.
get a little
more of
He's
him.
he's the Boba Fett of the show.
They
right
really
now.
are.
He's Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And like you got to be careful with Boba Fett because you know if
Yeah.
you send him off on a rocket into the Sarlacc pit, that's not very satisfying. But if you bring him back as a Silver Stormtrooper in episodes 7 through 8, that's also not really satisfying.
Yeah.
Boba. Don't get me started on Boba. A kid named Boba.
where's the bell? of this?
Where's I was gonna say that. Ding.
Yeah.
I'm
man.
so irritated now.
Call back to our fans.
He calls that kid Boba. Boba, go get the dishes or whatever. So pissed now. I hate
Boba, go
fucking
clean
Kid
the room.
Boba.
Grubhub's
I
here.
hate Kid Boba,
But
which is I hate Kid Anakin.
yeah, no, I really like that they didn't do too much with Black Noir. I think that he was played really perfectly for the role that he had.
Yeah. They really, man. Whoever did, they knew when to hold back,
Yeah.
right? They knew when to show you which they needed to see, and they knew when to hold back. It was really fucking well done, man. Again, it's just a fantastic show. I haven't liked the show this much probably since the Dragon Show with the tits. What's it called again?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Show with the
So-
Dragon show with the
Probably the most
Well, that's what it
popular
was.
show that's ever existed.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, they really took the wind over. So I hope with this show, they know when to quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hope
Yeah.
season 2 is fantastic, and I hope they know it, they have an end game in sight, and they end it like, of course, the fucking drug movie with a show with a
Breaking Bad.
teacher. Thank you.
Jesus.
Breaking Bad.
Um,
Oh yeah.
What
It's
is this,
like
like
getting
Shred-
old,
is this
guys.
Are you
Jeopardy?
okay?
Sucks.
It
getting
feels
old.
like we're playing
No, this
Jeopardy
is what
with
happens
you
when
a
you get
lot.
old.
You're
Yeah, it
just
does.
giving us clues, and then we have to guess what it is.
And you have to guess what I'm thinking.
What is Breaking Bad?
I don't like this Jeopardy.
I can't help it. It's what my brain does. It's old. It's what it happens
Well,
when
I
you get
don't
old,
like your
Ben.
brain.
I'm telling you.
Because
I
I
know,
don't
right?
like it because
You-
I know that's where I'm headed.
We
It's-
were
'cause it's
talking about
already
this
happening.
today. Oh, but me and the rest of the old guys, and there's some young dude at work. He's 24, whatever. And I told him, I said, the first thing to go is terminology. Your terminology's absolutely just go out the window. That's why I was thinking plane waitress instead of flight attendant. You know what I mean? Because I just can't.
Right.
A lot. You know, one I get wrong or I can't think of a lot of times too is calendar. I can think of it now, but I'm like, what's that? What's that piece of paper with the dates on it? Because I can't think of the word calendar. It's terrible.
The dates.
And you get stuck on certain ones. So, welcome to getting old, kids. It
Yeah.
sucks.
Vocabulary's the first
So.
to go.
So when does season 2 for this?
September
this
4th.
mofo come out?
December 4th.
September 4th.
September 4th.
September 4th. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right around.
Dude,
the
that is
corner.
right around the
Yeah.
corner.
Mm-hmm.
After
It's
August.
a little over a month.
Okay, it's
Hey,
two
that's a
corner.
corner.
Okay, you go around the corner, and then you're like, oh shit, it's a month away, and then you go around another
Right
corner.
past that second corner, you're basically there.
Yeah, 2 corners away. You're in.
Honestly, yeah,
And
I'm
then that's
really,
it.
I'm really
You're
happy
good.
that they must have finished filming a while ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
When was
Isn't
the
it
first
already-
season? That was 2018. That was a while
Whoa.
ago.
Isn't it a third season already approved or whatever?
Yep.
Probably.
Yep. They
Wouldn't
got
be
approved for
surprised.
this
Awesome.
Dude, you know, I'm looking on IMDb, and do you know one of the co-creators for this show is Seth Rogen?
Mm-hmm.
What?
I did not know that.
Yep.
I had no
I
idea.
did not know that. And his writing partner, who has wrote a bunch of those comedies with him, Evan Goldberg.
Really?
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah, I had
This
no
does not play like a
idea.
Seth Rogen comedy. Let me tell you.
No. it
Not
doesn't.
at
No.
all.
A little heavier net. A little
Not in
heavier
the
net.
slightest.
Well, that's like there's a show
Yeah.
on Amazon Prime called Hunters. It's okay. It's entertaining. It's got Al Pacino. It's about in the 1970s, a bunch of people like Jewish people hunting
Oh yeah, yeah.
runaway Nazis. It's a decent show. It's entertaining, but it's executive produced by Jordan Peele, and does not
But-
have any Jordan
Oh.
Peele flavor to it. So it's interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, he's
Yeah.
only an executive producer.
Well, that guy's a wild card anyway.
He
I
is,
mean, he
yeah.
can
Yeah.
do these
So-
Key and Peele skits, but then he can pull out a lot of heavy stuff too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
That's comedy people, man.
Yeah.
They got-
Smile-
yeah,
they're all
pretty
sad.
crying-
darn versatile
clown or-
writers.
Yeah, the crying clown. or
They're all
whatever it's
actually sad. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
That's why they're so funny.
Man.
called. So yeah, rating on the show, I'll give it a 10, man.
I'd give it a 10. Absolutely.
Absolute
Even
10.
watching it the second time, I think I
Oh, yeah.
finished in about 3-4 days. I couldn't stop binging it.
I won't give it a light 10. I'll give it a heavy 10. Or whatever
Heavy
Ben
10.
gave
There's
it.
literally only
Set that
one.
down.
There's only one little scene in this show that I was not. It's not even a bad scene. I was just disappointed with, and that is the showdown between Starlight and A Train. I thought that was going to be way cooler than it was, and it was kind
Yeah.
of underwhelming.
Yeah, I guess.
That's my only one scene in the entire show that I was like, I didn't really love that.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, for me, I would still give it a solid 10. If you
my-
can only in an entire season give me one scene, it's not even a bad scene. It's just a scene that I,
Which was
like
a
that's a
little
10.
bit better. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
oops, I smacked my mic. That actually reminds me a lot of The Dark Knight. The way this entire show ends and kind of is. It's very, very drama heavy. So the final showdown,
Yeah.
in my opinion, was, the one that you're expecting is the one between Billy Butcher and Homelander, which happens and it's great. And it's all a mind game. It's all them talking.
Yeah.
There's no fight or anything. And then same thing with the one between A-Train and Starlight. It's a lot of just like confrontation, but not necessarily fighting. I do hope we get that in the second season.
Yeah.
I do want some action because they do the action really
And
well.
I was wondering, like, maybe they didn't have the budget to do a full-blown big action scene where they really have a proper fight.
maybe.
Maybe that's part of it because I thought it looked like that was going to be a cool like cinematic fight, and it really wasn't. And again, that's not that it was a bad scene. It's just I thought that's what it was going to be, and it wasn't.
That. I mean, they lit it
So.
and set it up that way too.
I guess I would rate
that's
this
weird.
as a man. I'll give it a 10. I mean, I think
Something's wrong with my audio, y'all. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
yeah, we can hear you just
You
fine.
sound fine.
I hear you just fine.
So I think honestly, like for what they were trying to do, it was definitely executed perfectly. My only reservation is that
Yeah.
this show, like for something to be a 10 out of 10, I don't know. It's like I wouldn't recommend this show to everybody. I honestly would recommend this show to very, very few people, actually. Just because
Really?
of how like this is not a show that like I can recommend to my parents. Like I would recommend Game of Thrones to my parents. I would not recommend this to my parents.
You would
I
recommend
would not
Game of
recommend-
Thrones over this
Absolutely.
show
Absolutely.
to your parents?
Wow. This show is
That's a
this
hot
show
take.
is so incredibly cruel and bleak that you really, really do have to. Why do you need to hear?
Let's give him the timeout.
We're calling it time.
He doesn't need to hear it. It's his audio. I see,
Yeah.
but I mean, I was just gonna end it. We're gonna end it soon anyway. Do you want a timeout? I'm gonna keep all this in just because.
Jesus.
We know.
We know. Just let me say my thing.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Get it?
Say something. Can you say something? Because I can hear stuff going on in the background.
What if he can't hear us?
No, he can't hear us. That's the whole thing. He said we sound like a Geiger counter.
Ah.
We can hear you. Oh, you can't. We can hear you.
You can.
Speak. Yeah. Yes.
I-
So just
I'll
talk.
I'll finish the show, but it's clack 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 clack.
Okay.
It's really
Ah,
loud.
That's annoying. That's super annoying.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna end it anyway. So Ben, if
Hold-
you want
hold
to
on.
finish your thought there,
Let's.
or
I can't hear you guys.
We're just gonna
Damn.
finish the show.
Yeah.
I'm
Can we-
I'm
can we-
finishing the show anyway, so it's good. You're good. We're gonna finish the show. So just hang on there.
Oh my goodness.
Join a FaceTime call. I'm not gonna join a FaceTime call right now.
We were so close to being
Just
done.
hold on. We're so close. All we need to do is finish. You wait.
Okay.
Just wait.
All right.
Okay, Ben, finish your thought.
Okay, so I think that I want to give this show a 10. I really do. And I like personally for me, yeah, I would say that like for what it set out to do, it's definitely 10 out of 10. It's just I would caution people that want to watch this to be prepared for how bleak it is. And
I would definitely.
and
get that
that's
too.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
If you have, especially right now, like this is not a show that makes you feel good. This is a show that makes you feel very bad, and it will stick with you because of how real and gruesome a lot of the problems they deal with are. So just with that, I think they nailed it. I think they handled everything with grace. They just handled it with like a sledgehammer too, so it hurts to watch. And that's really my opinion of the show. Is that it's a tough watch, but it's fair and it's executed well.
It's a good show if you're in the mood for it and you're prepared. I think you can't go into this
Yeah.
just being like, well, I don't think a lot of people can just sit down and be like, yeah, this looks like it's good. But
It's
All
not
right.
a casual
Not
watch.
at all.
well, that's The Boys for you. That's season 1. I'm super stoked for season 2. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Um,
I can't wait.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. You can listen to us on Spotify. If you're watching this, you're watching it on YouTube. And you can find us on Instagram and follow us there. Cool. Thank you.